have a tough thing to ask, Kara. Do you think that if we went back to the complex, you'd be able to pick out the apartment?
Oh, I asked the people in the car to remember what the apartment number was.
I asked them, and I'm sorry to say they didn't remember. I think they were pretty distracted by the sight of you.
I don't think I'm gonna remember.
Kara, would you be up to coming back with us to give it a try anyway?
Get justice. Get him.
Yeah.
Welcome back. That was a clip from the new Lifetime movie, The Girl Who Escaped, the Kara Robinson story, telling the true life story of Kara's headline-making kidnapping by a serial killer when she was 15 years old. The case happened in Columbia, South Carolina. And as you saw, Kara not only escaped, she helped authorities find the individual. And we're back with Kara Robinson Chamberlain and Elizabeth Smart. Kara, take me back, and obviously you've told this story, but it never ceases to amaze me, though, how your mind works. There you are, a kid, and you are being held by this individual, and you were remembering details.
Yeah.
How do you describe what kicked into your brain to survive that?
So we all know that there are these trauma responses, right? We've all heard of fight or flight, and I think the newest addition, we have fight, flight, freeze, and appease, which Elizabeth and I have talked about quite frequently. And when you enter into these trauma responses, your brain sort of goes on autopilot. It's your autonomic nervous system. You can't overcome it. And so for me, it was not a conscious decision necessarily to gather information or to appease my captor. It was my body's way of protecting my life. And so then there was this repetitive mantra that you see in the movie of gather information, wait for him to become complacent, and then escape. And so it was just survival for me.
So you were taken from outside of a friend's house. This is a stranger. Nothing in life prepares you for what you're going to do, God forbid if someone takes you.
Right.
And a kid, let alone being prepared. How do you summons that? Do you look back at it? I know it's been time, but I'm sure there have been many nights where you say, gosh, first of all, the why me? But how did I know that I could escape and that I would be part of my own escape?
Yeah, I don't have any good explanation for it other than knowing that I did not want this person to have any more control over me than possible. So for me, the ability to wait on him to become complacent, to remain calm, to escape, that was me trying to gain control of the situation.
I know that, as I said, you later in life discovered that this gift, if you will, of remembering those details that you wanted to use to help solve other cases. This individual was a serial killer. Unsolved murders of 3 girls. Sophia Sylvia was 16, sisters Kristen Lisk and Katie Lisk, 12. You really dedicated your next chapter of life to helping with unsolved cases.
Yeah, I formed a relationship with many people in law enforcement through my case and worked there all through high school and college. And when I was coming up on graduation from college, the sheriff said, if you would like to continue to work here, then we will always have a job for you. So I basically went into law enforcement. And
the sheriff's name was?
Sheriff Lott.
Sheriff Lott. Yeah. So the sheriff that you were working with, Sheriff Lott, said, you're so good at this that you should go into law enforcement. That's high praise.
Thank you. He was...
Well, let me hold on.
Yeah.
Because Sheriff Lott joins us right now. Hi, Sheriff. I know you have to be so proud of Kara and hearing her retell this story, but you saw something in her that would help her build her next chapter.
I did, and I think she explained just a few minutes ago when you asked her how did she adapt last night. Control. Kara's been able to control her life from that moment that she was abducted all the way until to now. She's been able to control her life and control fear. And I think that was one of the things that impressed me so much, not just hearing her story, but being able to meet her and see her and watch her grow up.
And that she would go on to want to help other families find answers in unsolved cases and use her voice. It is, how do you describe it? You've been in law enforcement a long time. You know that there would be people who would want to lock themselves in and never come back out. She did the opposite.
Totally the opposite. I can remember the day she said, when I talked to her about coming to work here, she said, I want to help people. I said, well, this is a great place to do it. She wanted to be a school resource officer, help kids. Then she wanted to be a victim advocate, reach out to victims and show them how they can be a survivor like her. Most impressive young lady I've ever met.
Wow. Well, as I said, Sheriff, I know that you are so proud to see where she is now, and we thank you for coming to say hi. I know it meant the world to you to be able to join her and share how impressed you are with everything that she's done.
So very proud of her.
Thank you so much, Sheriff. Thank you. Coming up, our conversation continues with Kara and Elizabeth. They're both now mothers. How they tell their children about what they survived and how the birth of Kara's second son triggered a flood of emotions that she wasn't expecting. More of our exclusive conversation with them both.
Hello.
Ms. Johnson? This is Lieutenant Rowland with the Richland County Sheriff's Department.
Is it Kara?
Yes, ma'am, we have your daughter here.
Is she okay? Mama? Mama, can you come pick me up? Oh, baby. Oh, baby, I'll be right there, okay? I'm coming right now.
Welcome back. That was a clip from the new Lifetime movie, The Girl Who Escaped, the Kara Robinson story about Kara's escape from a serial killer when she was just a teenager. And we're back with Kara and Elizabeth Smart, who is one of the movie's executive producers. Kara, take me to that scene. How close was it to life?
That's pretty close to real life, that particular scene.
In what way did that, in reliving that moment, how did that impact you? Because that's a pivotal connection there between mother and child.
Yeah, it was absolutely one of the most emotional parts of filming. I was actually in that scene. If you watch the movie, you can see me in the background. So I was actually right there when that was being filmed, and I dissociated, kind of separated my emotions all through my trauma, and so there's not a lot of areas that I can recall where there is a very intense emotional connection, but that's definitely one of them.
That's one of them, and likely because it is your mother and you. And I was so stunned. Elizabeth, you now have 3 kids. Chloe is 7, James is 5, Olivia is 4.
Oh, Chloe just turned 8.
Oh, she just turned 8.
2 days ago.
Fact check me, because I don't want any trouble from Chloe. Happy 8th birthday, Chloe. Kara, you have 2 boys.
Yeah.
When your stories are told, and now your kids, age 8, these days, 8-year-olds know everything. What is it like when your children, Elizabeth, for example, know your story? Do you tell them before they read it? How do they learn about it?
Well, everyone asks me for advice, but I feel like I'm the worst person to be giving it because I've only been a parent now for 8 years, whereas other people have been parents for 20, 50 years. I feel like they should give me the answers. But the best advice that I have been given was that you need to start talking to your child when they start asking questions, which honestly started when my daughter was 3, which I was not prepared for. It was when I was going down to a parole hearing for Wanda Barzee, and she was like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, we're going there. We're doing this." And now as she's just gotten older, I mean, she could tell you roughly the overall story. She couldn't go into details, but as she gets older, I mean, those details I'm finding are starting to come sooner and sooner.
And Kara, now you have the movie, and your details will be there right on television. I know that the birth of your second child, you've said, triggered a flood of emotions because you compartmentalize a lot of what happened to you.
Yes, yeah. So after the birth of my second son, I think I most likely was having a little bit of postpartum anxiety and depression, and I was feeling very disconnected from him, from myself, And I realized the one thing that I was consistently feeling was just very, very angry. And just kind of started peeling that back, and why do I feel so angry? And I realized because my life just felt very out of control. And I had just suppressed every other emotion. And so I just started kind of, I could just say peeling it back, because that's kind of what it feels like. It's like, okay, why do I feel this way? And then it was very conscious. Whenever I would feel like tears well up, or I would feel a big emotion come, I would tell myself, stop, stop, stop. Because a strong person, which is what I identified as, a strong person doesn't cry and isn't affected by this. And so I had to teach myself what strength actually looked like.
And what does it look like to you now?
It looks like the ability to be vulnerable and to be authentic.
Well, you've been incredibly vulnerable and authentic, and the movie obviously traces the most difficult and darkest days of your life, but it also reveals the light and the beauty that we all see today. So thank you so much for joining us. Elizabeth, thank you for all of the work that you do for survivors like yourself. And the movie, the Lifetime movie, The Girl Who Escaped, the Kara Robinson story, premieres this Saturday, February 11th.